drier weather Sunday. Weekend highs low to mid-50s. I'm Jennifer Moore. This is Think Radio.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Friday Night Under the Lights. We'll be here till midnight tonight. A lot of playoff games happened over the last day or so. Russ Robinson here, along with George Broadstreet. Joel Norris is here. Chris is producing in the actual studio tonight. Liz is back with us tonight from MPB. Glad to have her. Ty Bailey is taking your calls at 877-672-7464. Noah Crow is here. He will be chasing stories throughout the night. And tonight's show made possible by the folks at Cricket Wireless. Smile. You're on Cricket. All right. Hi, guys.
Hey, Russ.
How's everybody doing? Can you believe this is our next to the last show?
Next to the last show. It seems like it just got started.
I think Liz thought she was going to get next week off, but no. And, of course, you know, MPB is carrying the state championship games on radio. Jared Schatz is going to be along a little bit later to talk about that. And, you know, because for the longest time, the only way you could get it was on television. And now they're going to be carrying it on radio, and you know I think it's great because you get a lot of people, you know, Christmas cantatas or Christmas shopping or whatever they're doing on those Saturday, and to be able to flip it on in the car and listen to it is a real advantage. And so MPB will also be carrying the Friday Night Under the Lights productions of the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star Game, which will be the weekend after the state championships, and then they'll also be carrying the Mississippi All-Star Game, which is the weekend after the Miss Isle game. So a lot of football still left to play, but for some teams tonight, they can pack up the equipment because the season is over. That is the toughest part of high school football, is when you get down here. Now, next weekend, next Friday, is the most fun night of the year, okay? Because that's semifinal night. Tonight's quarterfinal night. Semifinal night, you find out who you're going to play, and that could be good, or it could not be good.
Yeah. Well, you know, kind of following the scores through the night, I kind of felt like there were some games that are going to end up being upsets because there were some games that were really close. Some of the lower ranked teams were ahead early on. But pretty much, if I'm looking at this right, I think pretty much the top seeded teams won almost in every place in every division. So we'll talk about the scores here in a second. But you know, it's not one of those nights. I was afraid at first. I thought we were going to have Chris, you know, have 911 on speed dial because you were going to pass out somewhere along here. But I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah. Anyway,
we got a lot of folks that are scheduled. Matt Timms is actually covering 2 games for us tonight.
Okay.
And a game you were following was the Oak Forest Yellow Jackets, and Matt was actually there, and he's going to have their head coach on for us tonight. So the show's going to, you know, as far as the format, going to kind of shift around a little bit tonight because you've got teams that have played, they're done. You know, some of those coaches don't want to talk. I get it. You know, I understand. The ones that won do want to talk. Yeah. I get that. I understand it. So, you know, we'll grab them as we can tonight. But I tell you what, let's do. Let's start out this segment by just going over all the scores. And by the way, Dr. Dave will have all of these brackets up and who plays who and where they play next week, so that you, when you go to the website, the FNUTL website, FNUTL.com, and you see those brackets that are made possible by Cricket Wireless, you can see where you may want to go to a game next week. Then you don't know anybody there. You don't have a kid playing. You don't know anybody in that town, but you just might want to go see somebody like Picayune or, something like that. I wouldn't mind seeing Picayune. If Picayune's still in it, you've not told me yet. So
they're in it.
I turn there.
Yeah.
I turn that over to you.
Okay, let's start with 6A and kind of work our way down. We'll start with Starkville and Clinton. Starkville, this is their second trip to Clinton this year. They lost the first time. They definitely won tonight. They beat the Aris by the score of 30-2 in a game that they dominated pretty much start to finish. And Starkville's kind of gotten hot here in the last couple of weeks. They will be facing Tupelo for the North 6A Championship next weekend. Tupelo defeated Madison Central by the score of 28-7. So Tupelo, who is really only allowed now 63 points the entire season long, that will be a great matchup. And actually, I think earlier in the season, Starkville and Tupelo played within 7 points of one another. So they've given Tupelo the best game of anybody. Moving on in 6A, Brandon defeated Warren Central 36-28. This is one I thought was going to scare you because I think Warren Central was ahead of that Brandon for much of that game. But Brandon ended up winning 36-28. Ocean Springs won over Oak Grove tonight, 42-25. So Ocean Springs will play Brandon for the South 6A Championship next Friday night.
Ooh, where?
I don't know yet.
Okay,
I don't know
that's why it's important.
That's why we got to figure that out.
That's right.
I don't know that.
Okay.
Moving to 5A, West Point defeated Neshoba Central by the score of 34-33. It was Vicksburg winning over Callaway 27-22. Gaucher prevailed over Van Cleve 48-21, and Picayune beat West Jones 28-17. Now that was a game that I really thought was going to scare you because for much of that game, we'll probably hear from Kerry Metzler before long. But West Jones was ahead for a lot of that game, but Picayune ends up winning in the end 28-17. In 4A, it was Houston, or actually Itawamba AHS defeated Houston by the score of 22-20. It was Louisville over Caledonia 35-14. Mendenhall defeated Quitman 34-0. This was a little bit of a surprise. Maybe Stone defeated Poplarville 32-28.
That's a huge surprise in my book.
Well, I mean, Poplarville only lost once. Stone had lost 2 games, but Stone won 32-28 tonight. 3A action, Noxubee County defeated Kossuth 32-10. It was Amory over Winona 34-20. Raleigh doubled up Wesson 56-28. Hazelhurst over McGee 32-14. In 2A, Eupora over Northside 58-18. It was Charleston 54, Choctaw County 14. Scott Central, as I said last week, you don't want to play Scott Central at this time of the year. Scott Central beat Philadelphia 55-0. Big win. Velma Jackson is having a great year. They're going to play for the South Championship next weekend. They defeated Lake by the score of 27-6. In 1A, this was the last score I had. Biggersville was ahead of Simmons 29-22 in the fourth quarter. McEvans 34, South Delta 8. Taylorsville defeated Hamilton 40-20. Bay Springs shut out West Lowndes 42-0. Now we know, moving on to MAIS action, we know the game of all games is tomorrow night at Mississippi College at 6 o'clock is MRA and Jackson Prep. We'll talk about that in just a moment. It was in the 5A championship. Oak Forest defeated Simpson 24-14. This game was played last night in 4A. Greenville St. Joe defeated Tri-County 26-14. The 3A, this was played today. Canton Academy defeated Central Holmes 47-13. I'll go ahead and give the Crazy Eights. Well, Joel's here. Joel will talk about this later. He'll expand greatly. But Tunica defeated Tallulah 46-6 in the 2A championship. And the 1A championship, which was probably one of the better games of the whole thing, Lee Academy defeated DeSoto 40-38.
Ooh,
So
2 points.
that's everything.
Going by what our colleague Jake Wimberly said, he said it was probably one of the best games of the championship weekend for MAIS. So,
How about that?
Yeah.
And there's still one biggie left out there.
Yeah.
So hold on to your grab your popcorn. 6A tomorrow.
How do you, I mean, I think just expand on that yourself, because you're going to be calling the game. MRA beat Prep. I don't know how many points was it, 6 or 8?
Yeah,
9?
at least
like
that. At least that.
Yeah. But MRA, it took that loss a couple of weeks ago against Hartfield. What do you think? Prep's got good chances, or
Do not be fooled about the Hartfield MRA game.
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to say that the two best teams in the MAIS are playing in that game. I'm going to say that the two best quarterbacks in the MAIS are playing in that game. And at that point, you spread the teams out, and both teams have guys that have just had great seasons. This is kind of the game that everybody thought we'd be playing. The odd man out was Hartfield. And last week, Prep took care of Hartfield, but it was only 10-7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just think it's going to be one of those games I think you're going to be talking about for a long time. Both teams throw the ball well. Both teams run the ball well.
Yeah.
Both teams have good kicking, and both teams have really good special teams. So the penalty flag hurt Prep the last time.
Yeah, I
that they
remember you
played.
talking about that.
And so we certainly hope that that's not the case for either team tomorrow, because there's a lot of those penalties thrown. I mean, they had almost as much as Prep did. So it's just it's the mother of all games.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they hold the stadium over there all year long for this game.
Tailgating starts around 3, I think, and so both teams have had a loss this year that they didn't think would be a loss, and so it's just really, I think it's a toss-up. I think it's a real toss-up.
6 o'clock, right?
6 o'clock kickoff, and
Be a little cool out there.
a little coolish. I don't know why they're not playing it at 1. I mean, when the sun is out there. Of course, you're going against college football, then you don't want to do that. So, but it'll be at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and gosh, a lot of memories for me going back into that press box.
That's true.
So, but Prep hadn't been at this football game for the championship in 2 years.
Yeah, that's right. They haven't been, have they?
No, JA beat them 1 year, and then oh goodness, who they get knocked out? Hartfield knocked them out last year. So they're back there, and this is under first-year head coach, Doug Goodwin, and he's done a great job. And of course, Herbert Davis does a great job with MRA. It may come down to the last team that has the ball, and I know it's going to come down to the team that doesn't turn the ball over as much.
Yeah.
So even if you don't know anybody on either team, even if you think you know somebody on the other team, I'd go ahead and get a ticket for tomorrow, because it's going to be one heck of a high school football game. And then after that, of course, you got the next week you got the semifinal games with the MHSAA, and all of those are good. And those matchups that you just called out a moment ago are going to be really, really classics. And how many times have we seen like two teams from the South play for the South, and really that could have been your championship game?
Yeah.
Because maybe the Northern team wasn't as strong that year, or maybe the Southern team wasn't as strong. I think we're going to find out about Ocean Springs next week. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you will. And also, I was circling here on my sheet. Look at this rematch in South 5A. That Gaucher Picayune Classic.
They're
that was a couple weeks ago.
they're
They're matched up again.
Where? We don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure Kerry probably has figured that out by now. But we'll talk about it.
He's going to be calling us a little bit. And look, if you're listening tonight for the first time and you want to get involved in the show, maybe your team did not make the playoffs, but you'd like to talk about them, 877-672-7464 here at MPB Think Radio. It's 877-672-7464. 7464. And we've got Dr. Reed Vance will be calling in around 10:15 and talk to us about the Warren Central game. And also, Chris Evilhair is going to call a little bit later in the night and give you the Brandon side of that. We don't like to take just one side. Yeah, we like to get both sides of it. And Kerry Metzler will call. And
I'm sure.
You said Picayune was behind in that game?
They were behind for a good portion of that game. It was like 17-7 for a good while.
Whoa.
That's a shocker.
That is a shocker. Yeah. Well, we're going to step away, take a timeout, and then open the phone line. So Friday Night Under the Lights continues here in just a moment, made possible tonight by Malone Roofers. They're more than just roofers, by the way. They're part of your community. We'll be back.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket.
With my Cricket plan, everything is consistent. It's always going to be the same price. No worries.
Cricket is easy, it's affordable, customer service is top-notch. That's why I've been with them for so long.
I got my phone from Cricket and it's amazing. As a journalist, I use it for basically everything.
Great phones, great deals. Now that's a story. Smile, you're on Cricket.
When you hear the words blue sky, it means clear sailing. When you stop at a Blue Sky convenience store to fill you or your vehicle up, it'll also be clear sailing. Fuel at competitive prices and a total convenience store with the beverages and your favorite foods that you'll come back for. When you stop at Blue Sky, it means clear sailing. Blue Sky wants you to have a great holiday season and hopes that you enjoy today's game. Blue Sky, fast, fresh, and friendly.
Malones are competitive people. Come from a deep line with my father. There were 9 in his family, and they had to fight for everything they had.
My dad didn't allow us to have any quit in us. I mean, everything we did, we pushed hard. This isn't a job to us, it's our passion. We were bred to do this.
Get your school on the network now.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights, made possible tonight by Cricket Wireless. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag or anything, but it is the holiday season, so you might want to keep Cricket Wireless in mind, definitely. All the information on Cricket Wireless is available at cricketwireless.com. Let's go to the telephones, and Carrie, you had us all shook up here tonight with that 17-7 score. What in the world happened out there tonight?
Well, Russ, first and foremost, give credit to Marine Tide for finding a way to get it done, particularly in the second half. But, first half, give credit to West Jones. They came out the second play of the game. They threw a 78-yard touchdown pass, called us in a good look for them, and then a ran a little double post, got a guy open, and ran for a touchdown. And then we coughed it up a couple of series later. We got it back first and went down and turned it over on downs, and then we get it back after holding them on the second possession. We fumble it, and they pick it up, run in for a touchdown about 15 yards out. They're up 14-0. And, Tide battled back, got it 14-7, and then West Jones got a field goal down 17-7 at the half. Third quarter, about the third time we get the football, put together a good drive, go down, punch one in, make it 17-14. Our defense holds West Jones. down way deep in their territory. We get it back at their 45. We go in, punch it in again, go ahead. That's about 3 minutes to go in the game, and then they get it back one last chance, and on about the third play they run, they complete a pass out in the flat, ball knocked loose, and Marion Tyson, we call him the tackling machine, 5'5", 130 pounds. That's when he wears weights in his shoes, and he 138 tackles come into the game, and he picks it up, runs it for a touchdown, and Tide wins it 28-17. But, Russ, our defense played well all night. The offense put them in some bad situations. We also gave them that field goal I talked about. We muffed the punt, but our defense held them to 160 yards, 78 on the second play for the scrimmage. So it says a lot about the Spring Tide defense and the great job that our defensive coordinator, Steph Hayden, and the guys on that side of the football with Mark Summers and Tyler Smith and others. Just a great job they've done with this defense all year. The defense basically won the game for the Tide tonight when it gets right down to it.
Well, Kerry, this time of the year, Pickens got the bullseye on their back pretty much all year anyway, and you're going to get everybody's best shot. Do you feel like you got their best shot tonight?
Well, I think so. I mean, a couple weeks ago, Todd Breland, who, coached at Wayne County's assistant, head coach at Laurel, head coach at South Jones, we all know he's retired, but he joined us for a segment. He talked about that region. Of course, he played every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He said, 4 or 5 weeks ago, people wrote West Jones, wrote them off. He said they had a lot of injuries, and then all you got to do is think about this, Russ. They got a guy named Scott Pearson over, one of the best coaches in high school football.
Yep.
And they found a way, made some personnel moves with some injuries they had. They got back in this thing, worked themselves into the CC. So, West Jones and Picayune, that's the 5th time we met them in the playoffs in the last 6 years. A couple South State, a couple of semifinals, and, it's been some great ball games. Tonight was just the case, I think, for the Tide defense. I just say this, they just never wilted. You take away the 78-yard touchdown, and they didn't give up anything tonight. And I think that's just the mark of these guys, the way they come and play week in, week out. Very relentless group on defense. I'll say very relentless. That's what I've used to describe them, because these guys just never look at the scoreboard. They never think what's going on. They play hard every snap. I know it's a cliche, but you have to watch this team to appreciate the way they play defense. I can't describe it well enough on the radio broadcast. If you're fortunate enough to watch it on the video stream, you'll see it. These guys just are relentless. They never take a snap off. I mean that sincerely.
Well, and if you know Scott Pearson, you know why they play that way, and he's been a winner there at West Jones. And
you talk about and Russ, I'm not sure you made a great point of how they played. Hey, let's don't lose sight of one Cody Stogner. What this young man's done, he was a great player at Picayune, played at Southwest when he played at Nicholls State. Came back here as an assistant under Coach Lee for many years, got the chance to be head coach. And what has he done? First year they get to beat the second-round playoff. Comes back last year, wins the state championship, got his team in the South State this year. You can't say enough about what Cody Stogner's done. In the dictionary where it says football coach, he's in there a bunch of different pronunciations. So I got it in Spanish, Portuguese, everything is in there. Because it comes down to it, Cody Stogner can coach football.
There's no doubt. And that he's going to need to coach football this coming week. You talk about a setup for a championship game. I mean, this is the team you want to beat.
Well, you talked about bullseye. I think, you look at Ghost State, give credit to Caden Irvin, the great quarterback, the Ole Miss baseball commit. He's a phenomenal athlete. They got some great receivers. They got great receivers. They got a good football team. They're well coached. Coach Allen did a great job down there. It was a great game a couple of weeks ago. It was no fluke. That was just a great football game. It's like everybody, no one can say, well, this didn't happen, but Picayune didn't do this. No. Ghost State is a good football team, a great football team, and it'll be a great atmosphere next week in Picayune for the South State. It was a little cold for me tonight. My toes got cold a few times there, and even inside, but Todd got down there and rubbed them like he always does. Hey, there's a reason you keep your color guy around. You got to have extra special stuff, and man, when he rubbed those feet, warm me up, and he turned around for
Well, Kerry, we appreciate that, and I'll keep that in mind in my future. But we got to run. We got a bunch of guys on the telephone. But we appreciate it, and we'll look forward to hearing about that ball game next week.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Love you.
Love you too, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, Russ, we got Reed Vance.
The doctor making a house call tonight on Friday night under the lights. Reed, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I got to know more about Kerry's foot guy. You can't leave us hanging like that, Russ. I mean, you got to know more.
Well, it'll be cold next week. It'll be cold next week, so we'll get more out of him next week.
Okay, all right. Brandon defeated Warren Central tonight. 36-28 was the final score. Just a great football game. I think a lot of folks maybe thought that it might be a little, one-sided, but it certainly wasn't. Warren Central came to play. Actually, they had the lead. Brandon did not take the lead until early third quarter in the football game. And the thing I'm impressed about Brandon the most is, Nick Blunt is clearly an outstanding running back. He scored 5 touchdowns tonight. They run that hurry-up offense, and it's one thing for skill position players to get up and get set ready in a hurry-up offense, but their offensive line is remarkable at doing this. They're a very disciplined group. They're really the difference-making unit on that team, if you ask me. They're up there ready to go, and they provide great blocking, and Blunt doesn't need a lot. And so they were able to kind of run the ball once they found a groove, and that was really the story of the ball game. Warren Central had a great season. 10-2, only 2 losses came to Brandon, 1 at home and 1 here in the playoffs. Jack Wright had a great game at quarterback, 3 touchdowns. They kind of pressured him late, caused a couple of drops and sacks and a couple of turnovers. Vikings had 3 turnovers, kind of cost them tonight, but they had 3 great catches from 3 outstanding receivers. They needed some big plays to beat a team like Brandon, and they couldn't quite have enough of those on defense tonight. But it was a really special season for the Warren Central Vikings, and it was great just to watch it firsthand.
Well, it was a good season for Warren Central, and I guess my number one question would be: is this a young team, or are they getting ready to lose a lot?
Well, they're going to lose. They're going to lose Wright. They're going to lose Trey Paul, who's kind of their Swiss Army knife kind of player. He can run it, he can catch it, he can return kicks, all that kind of good stuff. There's a couple of players I'm really excited about seeing next year. One of them is Maddox Lynch. I've talked about him before. I think 6'3", 210 maybe, tight end. He's just a sophomore. He'll have a chance to have a big season. He's not only a high school player, I think he's a next level player. When I say next level, I'm thinking Division I player. I think he's that good. And they had a freshman kicker who was 11 for 11 on field goals this year, Jonah Artman. Missed 1 point after all season long. You don't see that much in high school football anymore.
No.
And they got some other skilled position players coming back, and they got a guy named Ronnie Blossom, defensive end, just a sophomore, fantastic ball hawk. So they do have some talent coming back. Josh Morgan, the head coach of Warren Central, has done such a good job in making sure that there's never going to be one player who dominates the way like a Nate Blunt did tonight for Brandon. Brandon was without their number 2 running back tonight, but they have a lot of options on offense, which means everybody's going to get reps as a young player, and so you're never rebuilding. You're just kind of reloading from year to year on both sides of the ball. And I think the Vikings, the Vikings have a lot to be proud about this season, and I think the Bulldogs and the Greyhounds next week will be a fantastic matchup at 6:30.
Well, I appreciate you staying up with us every Friday night and getting that report. So many people were following the Vikings, and really a lot of them thought you had a shot to knock off Brandon, and I think it played that well, and we appreciate you reporting on it and being a part of our show, and hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you soon.
Hope you and George do as well. Always glad to work with you guys. Appreciate all the things you guys do.
Thanks, Reed. We appreciate it, brother. Dr. Reed Vance with us on the Scoreboard Show.
Well, we've got a couple more callers, but we just don't really have the time. We're going to be going into a break here shortly.
Okay.
George, is there anything else? I don't think there's any news scores, are there?
No, new scores. Just give you some to give you a reminder of who did win. Tupelo continues to be very impressive. They beat Madison Central 28-7. That'll be Tupelo and Starkville for the North 6A championship. And as Reed was just talking about, Brandon next week is going to play Ocean Springs for the 6A South championship. So really, either one of those games, those are going to be great semifinal games for sure.
I think there's great games all across the state next week.
Yeah.
And that's why it gets so exciting. I mean, you just and you know what? Do not count Louisville out. I mean, those guys, those Wildcats, they seem to be there at the stadium every year.
Yeah.
We're going to take a time out, and when we come back, we'll go back to the telephones on Friday night under the lights, 877-672-7464.
Man, that game was awesome.
Yeah, and I'm thirsty.
And I'm out of gas.
But we have to hurry because I have to be home at 11.
No worries. There's a Blue Sky convenience store at our next exit.
Yes, and they're fast and friendly and will get us on the road quickly.
And they have great gas prices.
All in favor of Blue Sky, say aye.
Aye.
Blue Sky convenience stores with locations all over Mississippi and one probably right near you. Blue Sky. They're always fast, fresh, and friendly.
People who come to Cricket, stay with Cricket.
I love how Cricket has no hidden fees, no hidden charges. It's just predictable.
With Cricket, I can stay in touch with my grandson as much as I want without being concerned that my bills go up.
The 5G is like fast. It makes sharing photos of our projects and video calls super easy.
Switch for the speed, stay for the savings. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Every day at Malone, we exist to improve our community, embracing technology, empowering people, striving to be better than yesterday. Malone Roofing Services and Friday Night Under the Lights have been impacting Mississippi for decades with the skill and dedication that has developed lasting relationships in our respective fields. For roofing, metal walls, and maintenance, Malone Roofing Services has you covered. Find out more on social media and at ecmalone.com. But for great football, it's Friday Night Under the Lights.
Get your school on the network now.
I started at 23 with nothing but me. And I believe roofing should be a profession and a career. Generations of Malones have proven that there is nothing we can't accomplish. Malone protects people and your things that matter most.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights, made possible tonight by Malone Roofers. They're more than just roofers. They're a part of your community. And Russ, along with George and Joel, and we've got a couple of callers.
Yep, Calvin's on the phone. He is a Brandon High School band member, and he wants to talk about the game. So here's Calvin.
Good evening, Calvin. This is Russ Robinson. How you doing?
I'm so good. That game was awesome tonight.
But before we get to the game, okay, aren't you glad that those band uniforms are as thick as they are, even though they're tough to wear during the hot games?
Dude, we didn't even have to wear them. Eddie was so nice to us. He was like, y'all don't get to wear those trashy uniforms. You get to wear as warm as you want. And, man, I am 4 layers in.
So everybody dressed differently, but the songs were the same.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
So a heck of a ball game. Tell me about it. What excited you about it?
It was so back and forth. Unfortunately, we did have 2 players, one from each team, get injured, but they got off the field like troopers. Like, they were really awesome.
Just to interrupt here, this is Jason Klein's offspring.
What?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
My dad's currently upstairs playing his Call of Duty game. That's
And you were on the field tonight.
Yep.
How big is your band?
About 150, 165, give or take.
Good grief, that's a big band for high school. How
Grows
long?
every year.
How long does it take for you to do a performance? How much time do they give you?
For competition season, we have a limit of, I think, about 15 minutes to do our shows, and then we're off the field.
But like in a game tonight, how long do you have?
Luckily enough, because it was so cold, we didn't have to. So we were kind of just sitting there sipping on hot chocolate because the band boosters are awesome.
There you go. All right, there you go. Well, next week you're going to find out just how good that kid down in Ocean Springs is. And that is going to be, you thought tonight's game was good? And it was. Next week's is going to be something else. Is the band going to travel down there? Do you know yet?
I'm actually was planning on giving y'all a little bit of insight since y'all said y'all didn't know where we were playing. So my band director said that if Oak Grove or Ocean Springs loses, then we're going to their field. But if they win, they're coming to our field.
So they'll be coming to your field.
Yes, sir.
Home games. You gotta love them. We really, first of all, we really like your dad. We're gonna keep him around a while, I think. Since he runs this place, it's just probably gonna keep him around. I've known him for a long time, super guy, but it's the first time I've ever talked to you, and I appreciate you calling the Scoreboard show and being a part of it.
Of course. I've always wanted to be on one of the shows, and I called in for Fix It 101 a couple times. So.
Well, you got the right one now. Hey, thanks so much. Congratulations on the win tonight, and enjoy your game next week.
Thank you so much, sir.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Ray Coleman, Clinton.
Oh, Ray. Ray, oh, Ray, where is thou offense?
Man, they left it wherever it was tonight, that's for sure. Basically what it came down to is this, man. I'll just be honest about it. Starkville understood that the Clinton rushing attack is the bread and butter of everything that makes it go, and they just sold out on it. They just said, we will force you to throw the ball and prove to us that you can complete passes down the field, and we just couldn't do it. That's the long and short of it. And that's no shot at anybody, but that's the reality. They found out that this Clinton offense was certainly one-dimensional, and they exploited it. And offensively, Starkville did pretty much anything that they wanted, which led to that 30-2 victory.
Well, we talked about last week Chris Jones and his coaching abilities up there at Starkville, and a lot of people had counted Starkville out, and a lot of people thought that Clinton could go up there and or could take them on and beat them. When was it apparent to you that they were going to shut Clinton down?
Well, I'll tell you, man, when we beat them early in the season, the final was 35-28, but their quarterback, Trey Petty, was thrown out of the game, I think, second quarter or third quarter. And so, we faced a backup who played really well, but, we played a backup in the regular season. Well, Trey Petty came out hot from the word go, you know what I mean? And all of those talented receivers and the two running backs that they have, they were red hot. They ran no huddle. They would hurry up the entire way, and I mean at breakneck pace. And we just couldn't catch up to that. And Clinton's not a team this year that's assembled to come from behind. Once they get ahead, they can dominate with their time of possession and ground game. But if you put them behind, they just don't have the passing attack to catch up, especially if we're talking 2-3 touchdowns. It's virtually impossible at that point. Starkville knew that. They adjusted their game plan to follow suit, and it worked out well for them tonight.
Well, Ray, the season does come to an end, but when you go back and look at late August and the 1st of September, we're not even talking Clinton playing in this game tonight.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. You know, Judge said it on our post game show. Head coach Judge Boswell, he said we squeezed out every bit of juice we got out of this team. And I think sometimes when people hear that, they'll think he's saying, you know, they didn't have a good team. He's not saying that. That he's saying that these guys gave everything that they had. They played up to their potential, and they gave every single ounce of what was in them. And that's all you can ask of these young men, right? That's exactly what you want to see. Only one team is going to win the championship in every classification. Clinton played 3 of the teams, well, 4 if you include Scoreboard, that are going to play in the Final Four in 6A. They played Ocean Springs, Tupelo, Brandon, and the Scoreboard Yellow Jackets, and played them all well, with the exception of Tupelo. So at the end of the day, Clinton is a really good team, which is why they were one of the few remaining. But they just don't have all 3 phases playing at a top-notch level to get to that Final Four. And so that's why they come up short tonight.
Hey, Ray, I was going to ask you, this is George Broadstreet. I was going to ask you, Starkville is playing much better than they were earlier in the season. Nobody's playing any better than Tupelo right now. How do you see that game going next weekend?
Man, I tell you what, if I didn't have family plans, I'd be at that game. You're right. You are spot on, man. Starkville, since we played them, honestly, they've been red hot. And so we kind of knew that they would be a dominant team tonight. Tupelo, for my money, guys, they're the best team in 6A football.
Wow.
Point blank period. And that's no shot at Ocean Springs. Brandon, those 2 are phenomenal teams. You'll see that next week. But I'm just telling you guys, the Tupelo Golden Wave don't have a weakness. They can do it all. Run game, pass, defense is top-notch. Special teams is phenomenal. They, to me, are the best team in 6A.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
That's saying a lot.
Ray, we want to thank you for being a part of our show. It's so good to have you back on this year and follow the Clinton Arrows and let people know what's going on over there. And you do such a great job, and just want you and your family to have a good Thanksgiving. And you know, you could continue to ask your wife if you could be off next Friday to go to a ball game. Yeah, you can do that.
Not happening. Not happening. The run is over. But it's all good. You know me, man. I'm blessed to do it. It's fun. Doesn't ever feel like work, and the Clinton community has always been great to me. So God willing, I'll be back next year hanging out with y'all again.
That sounds great, good. Ray. Hey, have a great year, Ray.
All right, see you guys. Be good.
All right.
Ray Coleman, voice of the Clinton Arrows.
Jared Schatz.
Jared, how you doing tonight, bud?
Well, gentlemen, I'm doing well. I don't live in Buffalo, New York.
It feels like it a little bit.
Hey, you know, last year you put together the state championship games on radio, and I mentioned when we opened up the show tonight that I thought that was a great idea, because even though their games are on television, and that's wonderful, and even though they'll be streaming, and that's wonderful, and every city will have their broadcast doing their game, and that's wonderful. There are still so many things going on in the month of December that you get in your car, you're out of your car, you're in your car, that having these games on MPB is I think such a natural and was a great idea on your part to put it together, because you're going to be carrying some really good football games.
Yeah, no doubt, guys. And I can't take credit for it. Jason Klein, Jay White, the great folks at MPB that you guys surround yourselves with every Friday. Kudos to them for believing in this product. This will be the 5th year we've got it on there. And, yeah, there was a need for it. You know, just the fact it's the holidays, people are running around. You've got people coming to the games, leaving the games, and then those that are, you know, just out and about and want to listen. And we did it 5 years ago, and it's grown every year. It's been a lot of fun. I hate it because you hear everybody that calls in, all the colleagues, you know, it's like a fraternity of guys that call these games. And I wish we had 100 of them, because I'd have all my friends come and we'd have just a throwdown, and everybody would call a game. And it's one of those where I called the best in the state of Mississippi that I know, Ben Ingram with the Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
He's got his big shiny ring now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Ben. And, you know, Ben comes home and he does several of the games for us. And it's a lot of fun, and it's a real treat for the folks in Mississippi that love high school football to tune these games in anywhere in the state of Mississippi.
Well, I totally agree. For example, I may have one on television, and I want to hear the next game when I'm headed back to the stadium for whatever game that I've got coming up. And it's great to be able to listen to that game and know what's going on because you can't get streaming in the car or television either.
Well, if you're like me, guys, I can only do one thing at a time. So if I've got a stream on my cell phone on a seat or somewhere, I'm probably fumbling it around worse than players on the field. So, yeah, I love the easiness of the dial. I love the fact that you can go anywhere in this great state.
Yep.
You can cross state lines, and you can get the programming. You can get the play-by-play just like you can with your show on Friday nights. And I really want to thank everybody in Mississippi for really supporting this. And again, the guys at MPB and you, Russ, you've done a great job of promoting that. And obviously, we're excited about you guys getting the Miss Al game on MPB as well. And everything goes hand in hand, and it's been a real success for everyone.
Well, thank you, Jared. And at the end of the day, and you and I have talked about this, it's about the kids. It's about, it's about maybe a recruiter seeing a player that maybe they've heard about or listening to a game of a player that they've heard about. And at the end of the day, it's about them. The fact that we're here just doing this, I mean, we love it, but it's about the kids. And I'm going to tell you, for those that have never worked a game with Jared, I have. He is so good at what he does. And we're just looking forward to hearing you and the folks and Ben and all of them that you got coming up. It should be a great weekend of football, and don't be surprised if you look over your shoulder and I'm standing there asking if you got something to eat.
Absolutely. Come on. We'll feed everybody and anybody.
All right.
We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you soon, Russ.
Thanks, Jared. We appreciate it. Jared Schatz carrying the playoff games on MPB. Back in a moment.
Mississippians love football, and our high schools throughout Mississippi stay connected with their students, parents, and community by live streaming events, including football through WSN Live. WSN Live provides your school with everything you need for professional and seamless live streams that are easy for students to run, and your fans can watch online from anywhere on any device. With WSN Live, your school gets the right gear, a rock-solid network, and game-time tech support. Learn more at WSNLive.com.
Malones are competitive people. Come from a deep line with my father. There were 9 in his family, and they had to fight for everything they had.
My dad didn't allow us to have any quit in us. I mean, everything we did, we pushed hard. This isn't a job to us, it's our passion. We were bred to do this.
Man, that game was awesome.
Yeah, and I'm thirsty.
And I'm out of gas.
But we have to hurry because I have to be home at 11.
No worries. There's a Blue Sky convenience store at our next exit.
Yes, and they're fast and friendly and will get us on the road quickly.
And they have great gas prices.
All in favor of Blue Sky, say aye.
Aye.
Blue Sky convenience stores with locations all over Mississippi and one probably right near you. Blue Sky, they're always fast, fresh, and friendly.
Mississippians love football, and our high schools throughout Mississippi stay connected with their students, parents, and community by live streaming events, including football through WSN Live. WSN Live provides your school with everything you need for professional and seamless live streams that are easy for students to run, and your fans can watch online from anywhere on any device. With WSN Live, your school gets the right gear, a rock-solid network, and game-time tech support. Learn more at WSNLive.com.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights, made possible tonight by Cricket Wireless. You know, they gave out the plaques for Players of the Week. And not only, I mean, it wasn't just one. It was the North and the South. And, boy, these players and these schools really appreciated when Friday Night Under the Lights and MPB recognized their students' achievements this year. So a big thanks to Cricket Wireless for that.
Josh West.
Josh.
Yeah.
was Greenville better than ACCS?
They were, and we knew that going in. I mean, Greenville St. Joe, for those that don't know, picked up a 26-14 win over Tri-County to win the 4A state championship, to stay unbeaten in state championships at 4-0. But Russ, an interesting stat, Tri-County playing for their 9th championship in the last 12 years. We've been fortunate enough to win 3 of those, and that was the 16th appearance in school history. And I've told people a lot of times that, Tri-County so many times will get to that game based off guts and willpower and want to and great coaching and, just a whole lot of tradition and expectations. And, this year we might have been maybe, on paper, the third best team, perhaps. But they got there. They gave themselves a chance. And I actually went back and watched about 2.5 quarters of that ball game. Tri-County had chances in that game, but Greenville St. Joe just so explosive. One of the most explosive teams you'll ever see in MAIS 4A football. And you just got to tip your cap to a great, great bunch.
Well, it wraps up another season of, I call success at Tri-County. And those numbers you just threw out, Josh, there may not be, except maybe with the exception of South Panola, maybe a few like that, programs that have been to a state championship game that many times.
It is an elite group. I mean, we're in that type of a group with a Centerville, with a prep, with an MRA. Well, nobody's in prep league, but a prep and an MRA and a JA and some of the elite programs. You mentioned the South Panolas of the MHSAA. It's an elite group, and it's certainly not lost on those kids. Just in the last handful of years, the young men that are in college or maybe just married or just graduated college that still come back at least to some of the regular season matchups in the playoff games, or maybe bring their significant other or their spouse, and then all of a sudden they start bringing the youngins to the ball game, and then they maybe move back to the area, and then all of a sudden they've got kids in K3, K4. It is truly family at Tri-County. It matters to that community. Football matters like it does all over Mississippi. And it is just a treat and a joy to get to call those games.
Well, and that's what they say when I talk to the people over there and about your play calling, and they feel very fortunate that they've been able to hang on to you that long, and that you have put together now a team with Cliff and everybody to help you. But you've been very loyal to Tri-County, and I can tell you right now, they really appreciate it. And every time I talk to folks over there, your name always comes up as being the voice of Tri-County over there.
Well, Russ, we got a chance to work together on the FNUTL Peanut game years back.
Yep.
And Tri-County was kind of calling me home. The road, life on the road every week kind of wore on me for those couple of years, 2 of the most exciting years of play-by-play I ever had. And I said, you know what, Russ? I sat in your office and I said, you know what? Tri-County's home.
Yep.
That place matters. And what we do matters to them. And so, making that decision to do that many years ago now, time has flown, and it was the right decision. And you looked at me and said, Josh, that's the right call.
Yep, I did, and I knew you were being tired of being paid in peanuts. So.
No, it wasn't. It was those 2 a.m., 3 a.m. getting back.
Yes.
You never had a home game. And but we saw, oh my gosh, from the Little Brown Jug to Miles Brennan at St. Stanislaus,
getting blown away at East Central.
Oh my gosh, and almost got blown away up at Madison St. Joseph. With that rivalry game between St. Andrews and Madison St. Joe, the battle for Highland Colony. That was a truly special time as well. And FNUTL has kept on rocking. Tri-County has kept on rocking, and I can't believe it's been one of the fastest falls I can ever remember.
Me too. It really has. Josh, thanks so much for making us a part of your Friday night. And I know I'm going to see you in the next week or so anyway. But thank you for being on our show here on Friday Night Under the Lights, and we'll look forward to talking to you again real soon.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, Josh. Josh West.
How about talking to Granny for a minute, and then we'll go to Matt Thames.
All right, Granny, you're not in the sticks, are you?
No, I didn't go anywhere tonight, Russ. I rode around and I listened to the Picayune game, West Jones game on radio. And, West Jones had the lead 17-7 going into the fourth quarter. And the momentum turned pretty quickly for Picayune. They cranked that offense up, and they won 28-17 over West Jones.
Well, if you're going to go anywhere next week, you may want to go to Picayune and watch that Gaucher game.
Yeah.
You talk about a rematch of all rematches. Picayune does have that high-powered offense, but Scott Pearson, he's been doing this thing a long time, and I'm sure the Mustangs were totally prepared for that tonight.
Yeah, they were talking about the defense they were playing, and they were real proud of their defense. But I went up to Bay Springs about 8:50, and that game was over. I was going to get the score. It was already over at 8:50.
Wow.
But that, West Jones, I don't know what happened in the last 10 minutes of that ball game. So I tell you, that Picayune must have just turned it up a notch.
Well, they've got the ability to do that.
I got a message for you at the end of this phone call, so don't forget that.
Oh, okay. All right. Off air, I'm sure.
No, on air.
Go ahead.
Okay, Russ. Your success on this show is you've been real successful. It's off the charts, man. Good show. We get on here and we laugh, we cut up, and we get on here and we say what we want to say. And Russ, you're real nice to everybody. Russ, all I can say to you and George and your crew down there, hey, great job and thank you.
Thank you, Granny.
Thanks, Granny.
We appreciate it, and it's people like yourself that make this show what it is, and every Friday night, and we appreciate your calling from wherever you call, and you've been a great friend of mine and also of the show's, and we appreciate you so much, and we want you to have a wonderful Thanksgiving, my friend.
Yeah, I may not be around next week, may not call, so I wanted to get that in tonight. But happy Thanksgiving to y'all, everybody up there.
Thank you, Granny. Appreciate so much. Brian Grantham, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it really is kind of fun. I try to tell people, I have a lot of people that, talk to me during the week, and they say they listen to the show and stuff like that. And other people, they don't know about this, and you try to describe what it is. And it's about, it's about community, and it's about football, and it's about the people from the band calling dressed in 4 layers. We had that earlier. But it's about, I started to use the word characters, but it's really about the personalities, I mean, just such a wide variety of people, and they have such an interest in high school football and that commonality that they bring to this. But, who's got a guy by the name of Granny? Brian, but he does a great job. He gives a great report on just a lot of different games, and it's just interesting. It's fun.
What other show could you find out that Kerry Metzler actually gets his toes rubbed during a ball game?
We're gonna stop this right now and go to a caller. It's Matt Thames.
Matt Thames has been a part of this madness. How you doing, big boy?
Man, y'all hurt my heart, man, talking about the peanut game of the week, man. I've got so many memories in a short period of time with Josh West. We've been calling games since all the way back in 2007 at Madison Central Baseball. I love him to death. He's the best.
He is the best. And you're not so bad yourself, brother.
Man, I'm getting tuned back up. Maybe we can get this show on the road again sometime soon. But Josh, I always enjoy Josh. We talk pregame, get organized. And he showed me a couple of things when I did some games on my own to put the charts out, put the names of the big hitters down there so you can flow with the game really well. But Josh's call by call is second to none.
Well, you're going to be calling in twice tonight, once for this one real quickly because we're up against a break, and then you're going to call about a second game. Really quick, what's the first game that you want to report on real quick?
Canton Academy won the first state championship since 2016, 47-14 over Central Hines. Chris Hunter had 103 yards on 10 carries and a touchdown. He has 2,253 yards for the year on 134 carries.
Whoa.
E.J. Luckett and Bert Goodlow had a 62-yard touchdown return from a punt. E.J. Luckett on a 1-yard run. Samuel Woodward had 9 tackles tonight, 96 on the year. And QB Madden Gerald threw 3 touchdowns and ran for 1. And it just, Central Hines fought hard. They had a late drive, but it was just a dominant game by Canton Academy. They put together a pretty powerful team, and earlier in the year they gave Tri-County all they wanted.
I remember. We will talk to you again in the second hour about the second game you covered. We'll talk to you real soon.
All right, yes, sir. Thank you.
Matt Timms, he'll be calling later with another ball game. We'll take a timeout and be back with the second half of Friday Night Under the Lights in a moment.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket.
With my Cricket plan, everything is consistent. It's always going to be the same price. No worries.
Cricket is easy, it's affordable, customer service is top-notch. That's why I've been with them for so long.
I got my phone from Cricket and it's amazing. As a journalist, I use it for basically everything.
Great phones, great deals. Now that's a story. Smile, you're on Cricket.
When you hear the words blue sky, it means clear sailing. When you stop at a Blue Sky convenience store to fill you or your vehicle up, it'll also be clear sailing. Fuel at competitive prices and a total convenience store with the beverages and your favorite foods that you'll come back for. When you stop at Blue Sky, it means clear sailing. Blue Sky wants you to have a great holiday season and hopes that you enjoy today's game. Blue Sky, fast, fresh, and friendly.
Malones are competitive people. Come from a deep line with my father. There were 9 in his family, and they had to fight for everything they had.
My dad didn't allow us to have any quit in us. I mean, everything we did, we pushed hard. This isn't a job to us, it's our passion. We were bred to do this.
Get your school on the network now.
More information at creditconcepts.com. Credit Concepts with 2 Ks. With Cricket Wireless, you can connect the whole family with service backed by Cricket's network. Find all of Cricket's services at cricketwireless.com. Smile, you're on Cricket.
We're going to go over the score.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. And Russ Robinson here along with George Broadstreet. Joel Norris is here. Chris Saxon is producing in studio. Liz is producing for MPB Think Radio, which is why everyone can hear this show all across the state of Mississippi. Ty Bailey is on the phone. Noah Crow is here. And here is George with the score roundups before we go back to the telephones.
Okay, Russ, these are the finals from tonight, all of them. 6A, it was Starkville over Clinton by the score of 30-2. It was Tupelo winning over Madison Central 28-7. Brandon prevailed over Warren Central 36-28. Ocean Springs beat Oak Grove by the score of 42-25. In 5A action, West Point edged Neshoba Central 34-33. It was Vicksburg winning over Jackson Callaway 27-22. Gaucher beat Van Cleve 42-21, and Picayune beat West Jones 28-17. In 4A action, it was Houston defeating Itawamba AHS 26-22. Louisville beat Caledonia 35-14. Mendenhall over Quitman 34-0. Stone defeated Poplarville 32-28 in one of the bigger games of the night. In 3A action, it was Noxubee County beating Kossuth 32-10. Amory over Winona 34-20. Raleigh beat Wesson 56-28, and Hazelhurst beat McGee 32-14. In 2A, Eupora prevailed over Northside 58-18. Charleston 54, Choctaw County 14. Scott Central over Philadelphia 55-0, and Velma Jackson beat Lake 27-6. In 1A action, Biggersville beat Simmons by the score of 36-28. McEvans beat South Delta 34-8. Taylorsville over Hamilton 40-20. Bay Springs 42. West Lowndes nothing. In MAIS action, this is a combined tonight, this afternoon, and yesterday. But Oak Forest beat Simpson in the 5A championship 24-14. It was Greenville St. Joe 26, Tri-County 14 in the 4A championship. In 3A, Canton Academy over Central Holmes 47-14. The 2A's 8-man game, Tunica over Tallulah 46-6, and the 1A championship, it was Lee Academy, of Arkansas, Lee Academy 40 and DeSoto 38. So that wraps up all the scores.
All right.
Chris Ebel here to talk about Brandon.
Good evening, Chris. I understand that everybody's happy in Bulldog Country tonight.
I would say so. Hats off to Warren Central, of course. That's a completely different ball game than we played in the first time. First time was 21-3. Not much offense for Warren Central, but tonight, on the other hand, you got to give credit where credit's due. They spread the field and made Brandon work for it. And, I'm kind of thankful for what they did because they're going to have their hands full next week with Bray Hubbard.
Yeah, they are. You got a running back over there by the name of Nate Blunt, and he finished the game unofficially 280 yards on 33 carries and 4 touchdowns. Is it the offensive line opening holes, or is he just that good?
It's a little bit of both. I hate to correct you, but he actually ended up with 5 tonight.
5 touchdowns.
He ended up having all 5 touchdowns. It's the second time this year with 5 touchdowns. He had 5 against Northwest with 264 yards rushing. And we had it unofficially, too, with 280 yards rushing with 5 touchdowns. But to answer your question, Russ, it's a little bit of both. That offensive line does a great job, and Dr. Bass talked about it. That offensive line is with that hurry-up, and usually with that hurry-up, it's a spread offense, moving the ball throughout the field. But it's just them getting set. It's funny, Luke Rogers, the center, he wants the ball every time, and he actually catches the ball and hands it to the receiver. For the referee to set so they can run the next play. And he's making sure that he gets that. So that's something you don't see an offensive line do very often. But, to answer your question, it's that and then his patience and his ability to wait and find that hole and just create it. If it's not there, create one. It's just, it's for a junior, it's very impressive.
Well, you get to enjoy it tonight, and obviously you will, but you know what's on the horizon. Where is that game going to be played with Ocean Springs?
So that it's an even year. With them being in Region 4, it's actually on the road to Ocean Springs. Brandon's Region 3, 6A. Odd years, odd teams get to host. Even years, the even regions get to host. So that will be in Ocean Springs next week. And Brandon brings a crowd when they travel.
Yep.
I'm willing to say it's going to be a packed house.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure it is. How much do you know about him?
We don't know. I saw him early in the year. I went to Clinton before the Thursday night before Brandon started. I went down there. My girlfriend's little girl was cheering, so I just went to watch her cheer and got to see him in the first half. But he really didn't get going to the second half after we left. So I've heard he's a one-man, But, you know, I've known football long enough that it's not just one man. You've got to give credit to that offensive line to give him time to run the football. So I know one thing. They don't play a lot of this. You look at the score tonight and say stingy defense, but Brandon's got a really fast defense. So, you know, that matchup is going to be, you know, Hubbard versus our defensive 11. It's going to be interesting. So, you know, someone said it tonight. It's going to be the Nate Blunt versus Bray Hubbard show.
Yep.
You know, I think he had 240 yards rushing tonight as well. So it's going to be interesting. And you know, I don't necessarily know that there's a favorite. I would say probably at home, Ocean Springs is going to be the favorite. Of course, with Mr. Football as well. And you know, Brandon's not taking him lightly, but also they're not afraid of him either. So. You know, it's going to be a packed house. Brendan's been there before. They were there last year. Of course, it was at home last year. But you know, they're ready for the challenge.
Well, it should be a good one, Chris, and we really appreciate the report tonight. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, my friend, and we'll talk to you next Friday night as you drive up 49 back home.
I appreciate it, Russ. And real quick, and I wanted to do this, and Dr. Vance talked about it, and we were talking about Maddox Lynch. I'm impressed. That kid is a sophomore, 210, 6'3". That kid reminds me of a guy from the Kansas City Chiefs as a tight end, and he is impressive. And as young as he is, he can do it all. You're going to see his name not only at the next level, but very possibly the level after that. I just wanted to give him a lot of credit because that kid was something special. You know, I want to give him credit where credit's due because the kid was special.
Thanks, Chris. We appreciate it. Have a good one.
You know, he said that, you know, I remember a couple of years ago, and I don't remember what year it was exactly. I think it was in Oxford. It was in Ole Miss, and Starkville was playing for the state championship. And I remember A.J. Brown was playing wide receiver for Starkville, and I think he was a 4A. And I'm thinking, if he's not a 5A, I don't know if anybody's not a 5A, because A.J. Brown was head and shoulders above. He was the best player on the field by far.
Yep.
And you could tell, I mean, that guy, if he stays healthy, he's going to play in the NFL, and obviously he's doing great.
And what year is he? Sophomore, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sophomore. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's impressive.
That is impressive, especially when the opposition's play-by-play guy talks so highly of you.
I have a caller. Tommy Barnett's on the phone to talk about Oak Forest versus Simpson.
Hey, Tommy.
Oh, hang on just a second. I don't quite have him yet.
Oh, you're okay. You're working on it.
Now I do. Here you go.
Hey, Tommy. How you doing, man?
I'm good, Russ. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Did you have to travel down to Oak Forest?
No, this was the 5A state championship game. It was at the Brickyard.
That's right. It was at the Brickyard. That's right. Tell us about that ball game.
Yeah, it was, you know, Simpson Academy. I was able to get back to that championship game. Of course, you know, Oak Forest, it just dropped back down to that 5A classification. You know, they've been a 6A team for a few years, and man, Oak Forest, whew, they're legit. Russ, 35 minutes time of possession tonight by Oak Forest.
35 minutes?
35 minutes, and as you all know, there's only 48 minutes of football action on Friday night. They ran the ball. Actually, they had two backs, Lawson Hentry and Styles Guidry. Both of them about 220 plus apiece. They both ran it a combined 54 times for 254 yards. 318 yards total offense on the ground. I think, if I remember correctly, without looking at the stat sheet, I think Oak Forest threw the ball 6 times.
Did they bring a big crowd?
Russ, it was probably over 2,500 people at the Brickyard tonight. It was very similar to a J Prep game.
Wow.
Give you an idea.
That's pretty good. You were mentioning the fact that there are teams that really benefit from dropping down into a classification. They're one. I think, because they were up in 6A, just a little bit too many, too big for that. But it looks like to me that in 5A they can dominate.
Yeah, they were really good. Of course, Russ, that was a team that started the season 0-3, and finished the season 10-3.
Ooh, ran the table with 10 wins.
Ran the table with 10 wins and actually went to Columbus last week and beat the number 1 seed, Heritage Patriots, led by Lance Pogue, which was pretty much far and away the favorite to win 5A this year.
Right.
So went up there and took care of business and really won going away in Columbus last week.
Well, and in doing that, you kind of knew that what would happen this week. That is, wow, that's a ball game. And I'm assuming you've had good crowds for all of them.
Yeah, really good crowds. Had a really good 8-man game. I had 3 games today, 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 7 o'clock. But the game of the day was by far the 8-man game between Lee, Arkansas, and DeSoto, Arkansas, 40-38 game. But, that wraps up everything from the Brickyard for the year. And, of course, everything, as you know, transitions out to Clinton tomorrow for the 6A final between the Patriots and the Patriots.
Well, you come up there and see me tomorrow for sure.
I'll do it, my friend.
Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate you, man. Have a good week. Wow. 2,500 for that game.
Yes.
That's, and I'm glad he didn't get into the nuts and bolts of the game, because that's why Joel's here. I mean, he knows what's going on. We'll take a time out, and we'll be back with more Friday Night Under the Lights in a moment.
Man, that game was awesome.
Yeah, and I'm thirsty.
And I'm out of gas.
But we have to hurry because I have to be home at 11.
No worries. There's a Blue Sky convenience store at our next exit.
Yes, and they're fast and friendly and will get us on the road quickly.
And they have great gas prices.
All in favor of Blue Sky, say aye.
Aye.
Blue Sky convenience stores with locations all over Mississippi and one probably right near you. Blue Sky. They're always fast, fresh, and friendly.
People who come to Cricket, stay with Cricket.
I love how Cricket has no hidden fees, no hidden charges. It's just predictable.
With Cricket, I can stay in touch with my grandson as much as I want without being concerned that my bills go up.
The 5G is like fast. It makes sharing photos of our projects and video calls super easy.
Switch for the speed, stay for the savings. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Every day at Malone, we exist to improve our community, embracing technology, empowering people, striving to be better than yesterday. Malone Roofing Services and Friday Night Under the Lights have been impacting Mississippi for decades with the skill and dedication that has developed lasting relationships in our respective fields. For roofing, metal walls, and maintenance, Malone Roofing Services has you covered. Find out more on social media and at ecmalone.com. But for great football, it's Friday Night Under the Lights.
Get your school on the network now.
I started at 23 with nothing but me. And I believe roofing should be a profession and a career. Generations of Malones have proven that there is nothing we can't accomplish. Malone protects people and your things that matter most.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. Russ Robinson here along with George Broadstreet, Joel Norris, Chris Saxton producing tonight. Ty Bailey is on the phone when you call in. Noah Crow is here. Liz is here from MPB. But added to this list is MPB's intern, Charles Arnold, who we will make sure we don't leave him out, as he's been learning back there. I don't know if he's learned anything, but I don't see him shaking his head. So, Liz, wake him up. Okay. Just kidding. Wow, a lot going on.
Brandon Shields.
Brandon, where did you wind up tonight? It had to be probably in this area.
Yeah, I was at Starville Clinton tonight.
Where would, and we've had Ray Coleman on, where would you say the Clinton offense was tonight?
Just not in rhythm. They couldn't get anything going, and Starville, they're hot. They're rolling at the right time, and they're healthy. So, and that's making a big difference right now for them.
Well, you know, Chris Jones, outstanding coach, and he knows how to bring a team along. You've been doing this thing a while. Do you think that this is one of the best crop of 6A teams that we've had at this point in the season in a while?
Well, 6A going into the year, I knew it was pretty wide open. There was about 7 to 8, 9 teams that could win this thing, and it's going as, I guess, planned, as you could say. I mean, but the 4 teams left minus Tupelo because we didn't really know what they were going to be going into the year. So it's kind of like it's going as we thought it's going. So.
Well, and you know, we didn't talk about Tupelo much because we didn't know about Tupelo much. And
yeah, you go 7-4 last year and missed the playoffs, and so that's what happened. I mean, so and it is what it is.
Well,
last year Jeremiah Hale was playing. He was a first year playing quarterback, converted DB playing quarterback, and having to adjust. And now you can see he's gotten a lot better.
Well, Tupelo has been so dominant, Brandon. You think Starkville has a legitimate shot at Tupelo next Friday night?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Trey Petty didn't. I mean, Starkville played him. It was 24-17 in the regular season at Starkville.
Mm-hmm.
Starkville played with the backup quarterback the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Trey didn't play, and they're playing really, really well right now. So Starkville has a shot. They have a really good shot.
Well, you know, they've won state championships before with a couple 3 losses. I mean, when you look at, and we talked about this, Brandon, back toward the beginning of the year, all of these 6A, well, a lot of the schools, their non-conference games are just brutal. I mean, they're playoff team versus playoff team, and you find out what you have or what you don't have in that first 4 games. That's why Clinton, you know, was in this ball game tonight. They got it rolling, and I thought it was one of Judd Boswell's, even though he lost tonight, I thought it was one of Judd Boswell's best coaching jobs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we said it after the game. I said, man, going in the year, you think you can make it this far? I said, just trying to get there. Try to get there and see what happens. And look what happened. I mean, they play hard. They're not the most talented team. They play hard. They play gritty. They're not the most talented group by no means. Josh Morgan at Warren Central is the same way. They get a lot of their bunch. They play hard and let the chips fall where they may. So, and I'm just surprised at all these upsets tonight. I mean, my gosh. I mean, a couple of upsets in 4A. So
who do you think
was an upset?
Stone beating Poplarville.
Yeah.
And Houston beating Etiwamba HF.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the big ones.
Well, we got Wayne Flurry's on the phone. He's going to talk about that Stone game, and I'm with you on that one. I was really kind of surprised on that. Well, Brandon, we certainly hope you have a great Thanksgiving. I know that you'll be back at it next Friday night, as we will be, and we'll look forward to talking to you then.
And I got prep MRA tomorrow night at MC, so I'm looking forward to that one.
And you're not going to predict. I wouldn't. You what?
I'm sorry, I didn't say. What were you saying?
I said you're not going to predict who's going to win that game.
I predicted MRA, but I feel like it's just I feel like, Prep's playing really well. MRA's got the injury bug. It hasn't caught up to them yet. I mean, they've been bitten by the injury bug lately, and it hasn't caught up to them, and I have a feeling it's about to catch up to them.
Well, we'll
I don't
see.
want to say, we'll see.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it should be a good one. We'll see you up at the ball game.
Oh, yeah. See you tomorrow.
All right, man. Brandon Chills.
Jeff Hager.
Jeff Hager. We don't have
What's
to ask.
going on?
We don't have to ask you how good Ocean Springs is.
Believe it or not, I wasn't at that game, but the highlights are exactly what I'm accustomed to, which is Bray Hubbard blazing down the sideline for 70 yards. And Brandon Ocean Springs, that's the one we talked about all year, and we actually got it.
Yep, and that at their place at Ocean Springs.
Yeah, we're happy about that. We don't have to drive too far, so we got Ocean Springs, we got Stone, and we got Gaucher Pickey in the rematch all in our backyard.
Boy, did the Stone game really shock you?
It did, and not because they aren't worthy or capable, but you've seen Picayune, Poplarville, you've seen them in that Florida South State title game 6 years in a row, and so they just have that pedigree. And by the way, their defense had been dominant, so for them to give up 32 points, that was almost equally as shocking. So Stone's for real, though. I mean, if you can knock off Poplarville, you're doing something right. And Coach Feaster, he's got these guys really playing hard, inspired football, and it's fun to see. You love stories like that. They haven't been to a South State title game since 1991. Hadn't won a district title since '94. So these kids, I mean, they weren't even born. They can't even really understand what they're doing. But they're doing something that will be talked about forever in Wiggins. So very cool.
Wow. And, we knew all along Ocean Springs had a good football team when they played Clinton in the opening game of the season. And, this young man tonight from Brandon gets, 280 yards on the ground. I mean, it's just how big is that? How many people will that Ocean Springs Stadium hold?
I don't know, but it's one of those ones that feels like a smaller college stadium, and I've yet to see a student section like Ocean Springs. They bring their own speaker, and sometimes in my highlights, you kind of hear the crowd cheering, but you hear a song in the background, just bumping music the entire time. So they show out. I'm sure the Brandon fans will show out. I mean, they come down for soccer games. I mean, so this one will be worth the price of admission and then some. I expect that one to probably be decided within a touchdown, maybe 10 points at the most. And then of course you look at that 5A game, 48-42 in overtime. I mean, earlier this month. I mean, that game is still so fresh in their minds, and so Picayune and Gaucher, they get the job done. By the way, Wes Jones gave them all they could handle, but Dante Dowdell showing why he's an Army Bowl American, 3 touchdowns, and then the defense coming to life. They got a scoop and score there late to seal it, and just fun to watch. I mean, I know Gaucher, Vancleave, that what a great run for them, just to even upset Hattiesburg. But there were no punts in the first half of that game, which is exactly probably what we all expected. But if you got to go for it on 4th down when you play Gaucher, I mean, it's just so hard to stop a team like that. So I think we got a great Thanksgiving lineup, a good spread down here.
Well, I think you do, and I think the coast needs those games this year down there, and I think that you got them, and you got 3 good ones, and boy, I'd love to see your. I don't know if you can send your highlight package to me on the email, but I'd love to see your highlight package for tonight.
Absolutely, and I guess I could tweet at you guys, right? The Friday Night Under the Lights, or
yes.
Did you see it there?
Oh yeah, FridayNightUnderTheLights.com, and Dr. Dave will put them on our website, and they'll be seen a lot.
Okay, well, I'm gonna direct message you guys as soon as I'm done posting these. Our web producer's off tonight, so I'm still here posting all that stuff. That's why I was late calling, but happy to do it when our teams do that well. So.
Well, hey Jeff, it's lonely at the top. I don't know personally. I've never been there, but they say it is. So
something like that.
Yeah,
I'll let you know if I ever get there.
You have a great Thanksgiving, Jeff. We'll talk to you next week because we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely, you guys too, Russ. Have a good one.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Jeff Hager from the coast.
Wayne Flurry.
Boy, I tell you what, Jeff Hager said that was some kind of game, and this must be some kind of team, Wayne.
Russ, they are an exceptional group of young men. That's all I can say. They have rolled off 9 straight wins after dropping the first 2. And, of course, they're a 4A school, and they opened up with St. Martin. Had a chance to win that one, but I think ran out of gas. Same thing with Biloxi. Actually led Biloxi at halftime and wound up losing that one. But since that night, they have not looked back. And, they showed us things tonight that we hadn't seen all season. 5 wide, empty backfield for a complete series. They turned it into a passing game tonight against Poplarville. Russ, that was the biggest football event that Stone County has seen in probably the last 10 years or so, including Gulf Coast.
Wow. A lot of folks out tonight to watch that one.
Oh, yes, there was a bunch. Visitor side was full. Of course, Poplarville traveling well, and the home side was completely full. Stone wins the toss, elects to receive and go on offense, and 3 and out. 3 plays, no yards, punted it away, and 4 plays later, the Hornets are in the end zone. And you're thinking, here we go. It took back-to-back series. It was 14-0 with about 8 minutes to go or so in the first quarter, and the Tomcats somehow or another found life. Back-to-back touchdown drives while forcing a punt and a turnover on downs by the Hornets. We miss our extra point, and so it's 14-12 there for a pretty good little stretch, and then the Hornets were able to find the end zone again. The Tomcats would score again. At halftime, it was 28-18. And, the Tomcats are within 10, but, this is Poplarville. You're getting a spit dose of the wing teeth.
Absolutely. Big win for the Tomcats. Big win.
Fantastic win. And here's the kicker. We'll be at home again next week for the South State Championship. Who would have thought it? A home stand through the playoffs.
Not me. Hey, Wayne, have a great Thanksgiving. We will talk next week.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right, Wayne Fleury. We'll take a time out and be back with Joel's Crazy Eights in a moment.
Man, that game was awesome.
Yeah, and I'm thirsty.
And I'm out of gas.
But we have to hurry because I have to be home at 11.
No worries. There's a Blue Sky convenience store at our next exit.
Yes, and they're fast and friendly and will get us on the road quickly.
And they have great gas prices.
All in favor of Blue Sky, say aye.
Aye.
Blue Sky convenience stores with locations all over Mississippi and one probably right near you. Blue Sky. They're always fast, fresh, and friendly.
People who come to Cricket, stay with Cricket.
I love how Cricket has no hidden fees, no hidden charges. It's just predictable.
With Cricket, I can stay in touch with my grandson as much as I want without being concerned that my bills go up.
The 5G is like fast. It makes sharing photos of our projects and video calls super easy.
Switch for the speed, stay for the savings. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Every day at Malone, we exist to improve our community, embracing technology, empowering people, striving to be better than yesterday. Malone Roofing Services and Friday Night Under the Lights have been impacting Mississippi for decades with the skill and dedication that has developed lasting relationships in our respective fields. For roofing, metal walls, and maintenance, Malone Roofing Services has you covered. Find out more on social media and at ecmalone.com. But for great football, it's Friday Night Under the Lights.
Get your school on the network now.
I started at 23 with nothing but me. And I believe roofing should be a profession and a career. Generations of Malones have proven that there is nothing we can't accomplish. Malone protects people and your things that matter most.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights, and it's time for Joel Norris's Crazy Eights, and we started this 3 years ago, and now more and more people know about these 8-man football teams than ever, and you've got the scoop on all of them and a coach to talk to.
Yeah, I have the scoop on all of them, but we're now down to not just 30 teams, we're down to just 2 in each region because it is championship weekend,
right.
And it was a big weekend in the Brickyard for, Tunica Academy, Tallulah Academy, Lee Academy, and DeSoto. All 4 teams deserve to be there. Only one came out on top, but let's just go over the scores.
Sure.
Again, I know George, you went over them earlier, but let's just go over the scores once more. Let's start off with Thursday's game. Going into this one, I thought it was going to be a little bit more high octane on both ends. It was for one. Surprisingly, it wasn't for the other. Tunica Academy defeated Tallulah Academy 46-6, and I thought Tallulah was going to bring in a little bit more than they did, because this is, I think, the lowest score that Tallulah's brought.
Well, we've talked to their coach a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Bart Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Good guy, great coach. But this is the lowest score they've had all year, I think. And they usually score about 40 to 60 points on average.
Well, according to Will's spreadsheet, Tallulah coming into that game had scored 548 points, 545 points for the season.
Yeah.
So they'll be held to 6.
And that just goes to show how good Tunica's defense was. And I watched the game on the Raider Network. Yeah, I wanted a small plug there for Brian Eubank. But, I watched it on the Raider Network, and Brian Eubank and Jake Wimberly did a great job calling the game. But I saw Tallulah, and Tunica was just, their defense was solid. I mean, all over, offense, defense, you name it. Tunica was just, they were hungry for their title, and this was their first title since 2018. So, first title for 4 years for them. Good win for Tunica. I think the best game out of all of it, especially what came today at 11 a.m., it was the 1A championship, and it was Lee Academy going up against DeSoto. DeSoto having won back-to-back, or trying to go back-to-back. They won it last year. They were trying to beat a good Lee Academy team. Lee Academy beat them earlier in the season. And DeSoto played them close. I mean, it was close to the very end. Lee Academy defeated DeSoto 40-38. It was... Lee Academy was up, if I remember correctly, 26-14, and then DeSoto started storming back, and both teams have really good players that made this game possible. I mean, DeSoto had Ethan Phillips, and Ethan Phillips actually he probably should be playing college ball. I mean, he's that good. Yeah, he almost won him the game. Honestly. Lee Academy's defense held him up, but he almost helped DeSoto win that game. Lee Academy had Trent Felton, who was a wide receiver and defensive back, but they played him at quarterback a lot. They used him as like a Swiss Army knife in that offense today. So, Lee Academy got the job done, and stellar season for them. They ended 12-1. So, if I remember correctly, it's 12-1. But we have their coach on.
Oh, good.
So, Lee Academy head coach Mitch Smith. Coach Smith, welcome to Friday Night Under the Lights. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are y'all doing?
Hey, congratulations on winning today, the MAIS 1A state champions. Just a quick question. How does that feel? Like, didn't that have a nice ring to it? MAIS state 1A champions.
It does. It does. And, it's awesome to be able to do it. First state championship in any sport in school history. So that's a pretty cool thing to bring to the table, that we can bring home the first state championship for the school in anything. That's an awesome thing.
Talk about this game today, like overall. Y'all's performance going into the game. Y'all had a dominant run all season. Just talk about this performance today and going into this game.
Oh yeah, we had a good year. Going into this game, we never going to see DeSoto again. We're conference rivals. like I said in some of these pregame interviews we had, we knew them well. They knew us well. We knew today's performance. I wasn't super pleased with our fourth quarter defensive play. They did some things well, slipping a tight end out across the formation, open flats. We let Ethan Phillips bust loose a couple times, but we got our backs against the wall there at the end, and they had a chance to really take it and win it, and just a crazy play. Low ball comes up, and Trent Felton, number 3, just comes with the interception to seal the game up. And what a wild finish! But man, it was a fun one to be a part of. And my heart was racing the whole time. I about wanted to throw up at the end. got down to the end of it. So, but man, it's just we're very fortunate, and my guys played hard. Man, they really had that bend don't break mentality. So it is a great win, man. It's a great all around day. So.
Talk about this win. I mean, not only just for you, but for your seniors on this team. Guys like Charlie Harvey, guys like Trent Felton today. I mean, he was, what I watched, he was just all over the field, and he was used, like I said just a minute ago, a Swiss Army knife in y'all's offense today. Just talk about the win for your seniors today and what it meant for them.
Well, these guys, I've been with them since 8th grade, and they just had this hunger. I have 11 seniors. In an 8-man football, that's a lot, and they just had this hunger to want to win, and we finished last year 4-8, and they just kind of made this commitment to each other, not necessarily to me, but just to each other, say, hey, whatever it takes, and so to be able to win this game for them, I mean, I guess they just saw all their hard work coming to fruition, and after the game, and actually at halftime of the game, we were up, and they said, hey, look, they said, we got here together, we're going to finish it together. And, Charlie Harvey, he played quarterback for us. He had a torn labrum at the beginning of the season, come back week 4. And Trent Felton actually started quarterback with us. So we ran a Wildcat package to start the season. And he did really well, put up some good numbers. And then when we got Charlie back, it added another dimension with the throwing game. So we got in the second half of this game with and kind of utilized Trent more in the Wildcat role, and I think he busted off 2 big touchdowns just right off the bat. He is a Swiss Army knife, man. He just utilized them everywhere. I think the only place we haven't played him is guard or center. So he played
Coach,
he's just that guy, man. He's just that guy.
Coach, you were talking about Ethan Phillips earlier and your defense. Talk about, what was the game plan for your defense to stop a player like Ethan Phillips? I mean, he caused a lot of problems for a lot of teams this year in 1A. So talk about Ethan Phillips for DeSoto, and what was it like playing against a talent like him?
Man, the crazy thing about Ethan, he's just a sophomore, and he's a great athlete. And I'm going to tell you, our game plan this week was to shut him down. Like, hey, let's make somebody else beat us. Like, can't be one, right? It's got to be 6 or 7. And man, he turned it on, and we still couldn't stop him. Here's our focus. And he come at me after the game. I want to tell you how good of a sportsman, good sportsmanship Ethan shows. After the game, he come up to me, gave me a hug, tears in his eyes. He said, Coach, congratulations, y'all have a great team. For a 15, 16-year-old kid to come up and do that, and to shake your hand, I mean, it meant a lot. And I told him, I said, man, our whole game plan was to shut you down. We couldn't do it. And that's just how much of a player he is. And the scary thing is he's only a sophomore. So, even though we reclass next year, I think they're going up to 2A and we're staying 1A. They're a rivalry game. I've got to see him next year. He's going to be even better. And I got to figure out how I'm going to stop him without all my seniors. So, he is a next level kid for sure.
Coach, one last question, and it's kind of a fun question. I know your alma mater was Mississippi State. Tomorrow they got pretty much a tune-up game against East Tennessee State, but you got the Egg Bowl next week. Talk about your thoughts on that one, and what's your prediction going into that one?
Oh man,
Yeah, I like to call them a tune-up game, but you never can tell with the way they've been playing here lately. I just going into this, and hopefully they can come out with a win this week. I think they got that one. Ole Miss, man, going into that game, here's the thing about that rivalry game. It doesn't matter how good of a year somebody's having. The other team's going to very easily ruin it. I remember watching, one team would be 6-5, no one would be 8-3, and then here comes the upset. And it's going to be interesting to see how Mississippi State, they got a pretty good defense, but how they're going to handle Lane Kiffin's offense. But not only that, just can Mississippi State, can the air raid hold up? Especially with those fast DBs that Ole Miss has. So it's going to be an interesting time to see that game. It's going to be fun to watch. That one's going to be real fun to watch, I think.
Coach, thank you for joining us here on Friday Night Under the Lights. Congratulations again on Lee Academy being the state MAIS 1A champions. Go enjoy this win with your family and your friends and your teammates and your team. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, y'all. Thanks for having me. And, hey, Joel, thanks for giving me that Crazy Eights Coach of the Year, man. That's an honor and a privilege. So thank y'all for everything, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem. It was Lee Academy head coach Mitch Smith, the Crazy Eights Coach of the Year on Friday Night Before the Lights podcast.
There we go. There we go, which is getting more popular every day.
Yeah.
Joel is the only member of this staff that has a podcast.
I don't even know how to put one together, Sam. I don't think I want to know.
I know. I'm just teasing.
But he does. He's got a lot of followers.
He does.
Yeah.
It broke 1,800 downloads this week. So.
Unbelievable.
Commercial. All right, let's take a time out. We'll be back with the last 15 minutes in just a moment.
Mississippians love football, and our high schools throughout Mississippi stay connected with their students, parents, and community by live streaming events, including football through WSN Live. WSN Live provides your school with everything you need for professional and seamless live streams that are easy for students to run, and your fans can watch online from anywhere on any device. With WSN Live, your school gets the right gear, a rock-solid network, and game-time tech support. Learn more at WSNLive.com.
Malones are competitive people. Comes from a deep line with my father. There were 9 in his family, and they had to fight for everything they had.
My dad didn't allow us to have any quit in us. I mean, everything we did, we pushed hard. This isn't a job to us, it's our passion. We were bred to do this.
Man, that game was awesome.
Yeah, and I'm thirsty.
And I'm out of gas.
But we have to hurry because I have to be home at 11.
No worries. There's a Blue Sky convenience store at our next exit.
Yes, and they're fast and friendly and will get us on the road quickly.
And they have great gas prices.
All in favor of Blue Sky say aye.
Aye.
Blue Sky convenience stores with locations all over Mississippi and one probably right near you. Blue Sky. They're always fast, fresh, and friendly.
Mississippians love football, and our high schools throughout Mississippi stay connected with their students, parents, and community by live streaming events, including football through WSN Live. WSN Live provides your school with everything you need for professional and seamless live streams that are easy for students to run, and your fans can watch online from anywhere on any device. With WSN Live, your school gets the right gear, a rock-solid network, and game-time tech support. Learn more at WSNLive.com.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. Russ Robinson with you, along with George Broadstreet, Joel Norris, Ty Bailey, Noah Crow, Chris Saxton, Liz is here. Also, Charles Arnold is here, and I'm Russ Robinson. We're glad to have you on tonight. I asked Matt Timms to call back a second time because he just went crazy over the Oak Forest game tonight, and we also have Oak Forest's coach on with us as part of our WSN Live coach interview. But let's bring in Matt first. And Matt, you must have really enjoyed this ball game tonight.
I'm telling you, I love all the schools, but this tonight was one of the best games I've seen in a long time. Maybe it was just me, but that place was packed. The sun went down, the temperature dropped, it got cold, but man, those crowds, both teams' fans showed up and showed out. They were screaming loud. Both teams were fired up, and Oak Forest just had a powerful running game, but early in the game, they had a fumble that Simpson couldn't do anything with, came right back down the field, and on 4th and 12, hit a long pass over the middle for a first down, and that started the game rolling for them. They went up 17-0 at half, and you thought that they were going to dominate the game, but then Simpson Academy set their jaw, and they came back. Cockrell had a 62-yard touchdown run that put the game at 17-7, and then Oak Forest came back, scored again, but Simpson came right back down and scored 24-14. But, the game ended up at 24-14, but I can't say enough about the coaches for Oak Forest. I love all the schools, but I know I'm mispronouncing it, but Coach Masita, he coaches like you're supposed to. And you're supposed to be nice and polite and consider people's feelings, but this guy, he is fired up, he is loud, he's intense, he coaches like you're supposed to. It was refreshing to see.
Well, let's bring him into the show. Don't go anywhere, Matt, but let's bring him in. Coach, welcome to Friday Night Under the Lights. Now, how do you pronounce that last name?
My last name is pronounced Masita. I appreciate you guys for letting me be a part of this, and I'm really excited for our guys and the opportunity to speak on the show.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show with us. Anytime you win a championship game, you're probably not going to go to bed till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning anyway. So,
we got a 2-hour bus ride, so I'm on the bus as we speak. So we got about an hour left. We just passed through Brookhaven. So just soaking it in with our guys, man. What an awesome night to cap a great season and win 10 straight off the 0-3 start. And I just can't say enough about our seniors. We stuck with it and decided, step up when it was time to maybe fold. Just excited about these guys.
It probably, I would think, would be one of the top 5 stories in high school football for this season for a team that goes 0-3 out of the chute and then runs the table and wins it all. Got to be a made-for-TV movie in there somewhere. I've been fortunate enough to call games in your stadium, and I remember the year that you had the turf put in, and you played on turf today. Do you think that that the natural grass versus the turf, do you think that's a game changer, or does it still come down to X's and O's?
We always, obviously, because we practice every day on the turf, we enjoy being on turf, and I think our guys, they're the footing and things like that, they're used to it. We had to go on the road to playoffs and play at Magnolia Heights on grass and at Heritage Academy on grass, and we're able to pull those games off. So, X's and O's are a lot for us as coaches, but man, when you get down to crunch time, it's about your guys, believing in one each other, and one another, and just old school blocking, tackling, get to the football, and just hustling every play and kind of play. I've always said the further you get in the playoffs, I think the more simple football gets back to what it was back when Pee-wee football, tackling the block and keeping the ball and not turning it over.
Wow, there's a lot to be said for that. Every time that I've seen your team on an Oak Forest team, they're huge. I mean, they're just, I don't know what you're feeding those kids down there, but they're huge. And tonight, it sounded like to me that this game may have been won in the trenches. Your thought on that?
Yeah, out of our 6 seniors, 4 of them are offensive linemen. Both tackles, the center, tight end, and those guys, that was my first group in 7th grade, and implement the weight room that we've had, and these guys are all strong kids, and, got a few 300-pounders, but, we just believe in getting low pads and drop people off the ball and pounding them, and when we get an opportunity, if you get the ball in the air and get the ball off the edge, we've got to be able to take advantage of that. And that's kind of what we did tonight. But hats off to Simpson. Those guys are physical, great football team, 20 seniors. But we were just able, we were able to make the plays when we needed to. It was it was in the third quarter. It was kind of a boxing match. And we gave them a shot. They took a shot. We gave them a shot. We were just able to hold off and get the first downs we need to at the end. But our big boys deserve all the credit. Those guys do everything for us. And they don't always get the credit, that newspaper article, but they do in my eyes.
Well, they're getting the credit tonight on Friday Night Under the Lights. I'll tell you that much. You beat a very strong football team. I think back in August, everybody was talking about this particular championship, and they all had Simpson penciled in because they are a strong football team. They're just strong. You guys must have muscled up with them tonight and said, come on, let's play.
Yeah. Well, we lost the Cindy's last year to Heritage, and we lost about 23 guys off the last year's roster. We had a bunch of seniors, a few kids transfer out, and a few kids that didn't want to be a part of it. And people didn't pick us, which is fine. We like being kind of in the shadows. So we just decided, just to, I tell them all the time, tough times create tough people. And that's something we were able to do, and a motto we live by. And man, it was just such a sight to see these guys and these kids that were, we had 8th graders all the way up to seniors come together. You can do a lot when people throw egos to a side, especially in a coaching staff. You throw egos to a staff, you can accomplish more than you know. And we were able to do that as a staff. We were able to do that as a team, and just next play mentality and next man up. And it just showed tonight. One of our star defensive backs, Russ, got injured, and we threw our quarterback in there at safety. We went and practiced there much. He did a great job for us. So it was just our motto, man. It was our year, and I couldn't be more proud of these guys and this team in our school.
Well, Coach, congratulations on a great year and a great story. And we just tip in our hats here on Friday Night Under the Lights to you guys. And we'll be looking forward to following you closer next year. And just keep it between the lines on the road down there. And maybe you ought to run. Maybe you ought to run all those guys by Mike's Fish House over there. I don't know.
There you go. Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys having me. Y'all do such a great job every week, and guys like you give these young men credit, over the radio, and they really, I know their mamas love it and their family loves it. So we appreciate you guys as well.
Thank you so much, Coach. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Thank you.
We lost Matt, but he's back.
Oh, he's back. So, Matt, very quickly, got a minute or so here. The best thing that you saw Oak Forest do tonight was what?
Their physicality, Russ. They blocked hard and ran hard. I was down on the sidelines, up in the middle of it, and man, they were hitting. And I think Simpson, good team that they are, I think they just could not handle the physicality. And that team is connected with their fans and community, man. They were all fired up and won. Now Simpson was too, but it's just they really pounded them, and their running backs. One of them looked like he had Earl Campbell thighs. Man, he pounded them, and they could not stop him. But every once in a while. But that was the difference, is just the physical play.
Well, listen, man, we appreciate both reports. We want you to have a great Thanksgiving, and no telling where you're going to be next Friday, but we will talk to you then.
All right, thanks, Brother Russ. Y'all take care. Happy Thanksgiving.
All righty, bud. Thanks. Guys, the fastest 2 hours of sports talk is this show.
Yeah,
I mean, we
absolutely.
just barely scratched the surface, I think.
Keep going. We're a little early on the music there.
A little premature, but that's okay.
I want to remind everyone tomorrow that there is still one more MAIS game.
Yes, and there's plenty of free parking because the students have gone for the Thanksgiving Day holiday, so there'll be plenty of free parking at Robinson Hale Stadium.
I can testify to that because I walked out and everyone was like,
they were gone.
Yeah.
Are we out of here?
We are done with phone calls, so you guys can maybe talk about your
2 minutes.
What your best moment of the night was that you thought, looking at all the scores?
Gosh, I'm gonna say the Tomcats from Stone.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one too. Stone in Poplarville. Stone winning 32-28. That was certainly a big win. Picayune and West Jones, that would ended up being a lot closer than we thought. But Picayune did win. Vicksburg, they're going to be in the North State 5A championship against West Point. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the season?
Not me.
No,
not me.
No. And then looking at the rest of them, Scott Central in 2A looks awfully strong. We had a little bit of a controversy. Well, not controversy, but there was a little bit of discrepancy. But we think McEvans beat South Delta. Pretty sure of that. They're in the 1A championship north against Biggersville. That's a good. And Taylorsville in the South 1A championship. I always picture Taylorsville as being in like 2A or 3A.
That's because they were in 2A.
They were 2A for a long time, but
right.
They've moved down. But they're in the South championship.
You know who their big quarterback was?
Remind me.
Jason Campbell.
That's right. That's exactly right.
When they were 2A down there. And that's the thing about what you're reading now, and Joel, what you're talking about tonight. We've had several people say, "Watch for this kid at the next level." Right. Yeah. Okay. And I think that's what really kind of makes this show what it is. We let people know who's out there, and we're so appreciative of everybody that calls in and makes this show a part of their week.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
a lot of fun tonight.
Talk about one thing, just to make sure everybody understands. Brandon will be
at Ocean
Springs.
That's correct. Yes. I don't understand it, but this odd even thing, who knows?
We're out. We need to go.
Good night, everyone.